welcome to Vote 2025 election night coverage here in the city of Quincy. I'm Mark Crosby.
Can't hear you, Mark. Your microphone's not on.
Really?
That is Mark Crosby, I promise. And I'm Joe Catalano. Thanks for joining us here in Quincy Access Television, our live election night coverage of today's preliminary election here in the city of Quincy. We have candidates that are stopping by this evening to talk to us live. We have some candidates that came by earlier today to share their messages with us as well. And Mark, I think we've got you wired for sound now.
I'm good. I'm good. So sorry about that. We do have a guest that has joined us in studio, and we also have many guests that will join us momentarily that have joined us earlier today, and we will run those interviews with you. First up is Andrew Pham, who's a candidate for Councillor at Large.
We'll actually hear from Andrew a little later on tonight.
Oh, okay.
Chris Chan stopped by,
okay.
Candidate for Ward 6 City Council. Here in person, Chris, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Hi, Mark.
Good to see you.
Thank
Clearly, it's the first time for us to meet.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. You'll learn, people.
Well, I didn't have my mic on at the beginning, so clearly that's fitting. Yeah. So talk about your candidacy.
Yeah, this was a fun experience, right? I got to meet a lot of people, got to learn a lot about the issues, and just experience a little bit more Quincy that I would not have done originally had I just been sitting on the sidelines. And it was great learning about the issues and talking with people, and yeah, just taking in what Quincy is all about.
What did you learn, Chris, about the city that maybe you didn't know before you started this process?
I learned that we have very low voter turnout, and that is something that is an issue that I would like to see improve in the future. Yeah, I would like to see more advocacy groups work on that. I would like to see more people come out, make the time to come out and vote, and yeah, just make it feel as if it was more important, something that's worthwhile for people to do. Really have more candidates to run and have more issues that people are deciding that, hey, this is something that I need to go out and fight for.
So why do you think there doesn't seem to be as much interest in going to the polls for folks?
People don't feel as if their vote really matters, that just because they say something or stand up doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to change, that the systems that are already in place are just too big and too structurally set for them to really make an impact. But it's a democracy. This is how we go to lend our voice and let people know how we feel about things. And it's also an opportunity for people to come together, share ideas. And if they feel that they got the momentum, that there's confidence, and that people are really buying into their ideas, then yeah, they're gonna step out and really feel like they can do something about it.
If you're successful tonight, Chris, and make it to the final election in November, will you do anything differently campaign-wise that you didn't do leading up to this point?
Yeah. I definitely would. I know that I've been to a couple of the forums and I've heard more about what the issues are that people are concerned about. For me, one of them that kind of stood out that I never really thought about was the ferry service. And I told people that in a Reddit post that I would check out the ferry service later. Whether or not I make it to the next round, it's good for me as a Quincy resident in order to check things out. It's part of the MBTA too, so it's good.
The ferry service as far as
the ferry service? Yeah, extending the ferry service and then just having first-hand experience of what the ferry is like. I don't really use it right now because I drive or take the MBTA, but those are all just things that I'm already familiar with. It's good for me to step out of my comfort zone and also learn a little bit more about what the residents are using. So there's that. I learned about environmental issues. That was something that I didn't really think about before. I knew that was, I was actually kind of surprised that people thought about it in a city council race, of all things. But yeah, I would not have known had I just, like you said, sat in the sidelines.
If not successful this evening, what are your plans for staying active here in Quincy?
Yeah, I am going to try to be more active in the community. There are a couple of advocacy groups that I already mentioned in regards to try to get out the vote and just teach people about more what's going on in Quincy. And it's good for me to stay in the loop as well so that I can be more informed and also inform others as well. And who knows, maybe the political future will be different. So.
And we should mention that this shirt is iconic. I've seen you in this shirt quite a few times.
Yeah.
You've done, I think, photo shoots with it. You've done interviews with it. Explain this.
I like Hello Kitty. It's something that kind of pops.
Unique.
Yeah, very unique. And you know, it's an attention getter. we had other attention getters in the campaign. There's on the campaign sign, there's a blue little dinosaur as well. Just a little something to make people have fun and kind of not take things so seriously, be a little more relaxed, and just be able to associate a campaign. Just want to kind of change the landscape. And also, if anyone has noticed, aside from, I don't even think I dressed up for anything in particular, right? Just coming out casually, just letting people know that a campaign is just people who are coming together to kind of push an idea. If you want to run for office, there's a little bit things about presenting yourself and image and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's just regular people who are just trying to get things going.
I wanted to ask you about that. What would your advice be? Because this was your first run at elective office,
Yes, it was.
right?
Yeah.
What would your advice be to somebody who's contemplating, running for elective office?
Yeah, I remember taking some kind of training classes, Zooms and meetings and whatnot.
Sure.
That were trying to prep candidates. And the thing that I took away the most is just be yourself, be genuine. If you're somebody who's serious, lean into that. If you're someone who's a little more casual, kind of like me, I lean into that too. And it's good to be genuine with your message so that people have buy-in and not feel like they're getting hoodwinked or that some different messaging is going to come out. I've been trying to push in my campaign the whole time that we're trying to be collaborative and have openness and transparency. And I really have nothing to hide. Come at me, ask questions, do whatever. And people see that I'm at least approachable. I've had a lot of pleasant conversation with people. I've talked to people in other camps, Deb Riley, Jim Coffey, Bill Harris. I've talked to folks who are holding signs today. And if you don't mind, I'd like to thank Deborah, Jim, and Bill for running. I'd like to thank all the volunteers who came out to hold signs and talk with other people. And thank you for all the people who are working at the voting booths today. I know it was pretty rough. Sure. Especially when things are kind of quiet and you say, oh, when's the next person going to come in and how many people are coming? Voter turnout was low, but I'm hoping that would improve in the future. And thank you all who participated in the process.
Well, thank you for taking part in our coverage here at QATV.
Absolutely.
We appreciate that as well. Helps us keep our community informed. So thanks for stopping by.
Yes, thank you, Chris.
Right. You all have a good day.
You as well. As well. Just joining us, you're watching Quincy Access Television's live coverage of the preliminary election that was held here in the city for Councillor at Large and for Ward 6 City Council. 8 candidates for the 3 at-large council seats on the ballot today. That'll be narrowed down to 6 this evening, and 4 candidates on the ballot for the Ward 6 City Council seat. That'll be narrowed down to 2 this evening. The finalists will face off against each other on November the 4th. And just a little earlier this evening, Mark, you had a chance to talk to the city clerk.
I did, and that would be Nicole Crispo. Nicole took some time aside from visiting the polls herself, and we met up with her to give us kind of a look into today's activity and what led up to today's activity, and that, I mean early voting, both in person and mail-in votes as well. So we'll go to that now for you. All right, so Nicole, welcome to QATV's coverage of Election Night 2025. What can you tell us about today's election? This, of course, is the preliminary election in the city.
Good evening, Mark. It's been a quiet day overall in the city of Quincy. The last time I looked at the 4 o'clock numbers, we were about 6% of our voters came out to vote. But, we'll be there until 8 p.m. It's just about 6 o'clock now. So there's still plenty of time for people to get out and vote. I know that it comes up quick right after the holiday, of course. So people may not be expecting it, but there are signs all throughout our city encouraging people to go and vote today.
So talk about early voting and, first of all, the numbers and how that impacts the election overall. How you feel it impacts, I suppose, Election Day.
Well, it certainly does impact. It gives people an opportunity to come early and vote if they wish to, or they can vote by mail. The options are out there. However, we had a 1.3% on the vote by mail and in-person voting. So it doesn't really impact the numbers at the end. We get about 4.5% throughout the city right now. So 3.62 right now for at the polls. It's 6 o'clock. The polls are open till 8 p.m. We encourage people to go out and vote. And I know that all the candidates have worked really hard, and I'm sure they would encourage the same.
Well, we should mention that this interview will air after the polls are closed. So to those voters who didn't get out to vote, what are some important dates so that they can come and be ready to vote for the upcoming November election?
Yeah, so we're going to have the final election on November 4th. We will have last day to register to vote October 25th. That also starts our early voting here at City Hall, and we'll have that right through till October 31st.
And go over the contested races. Obviously, that has a weight on how many people are actually coming out to vote or voting by mail.
Yeah, so the preliminary, there are 8 people right now seeking a seat, and that's only going to cut it down to 6. So it's vote for 3, and then in the wards, it's vote for 2. So Ward 6 has 4, and it's going to go down to 2.
And for the final election, the contested races, again, all the council seats and the councillor, well, that includes the councillor at large
Yes.
seats and the ward seats.
Yes. And also school committee, 3 seats on the school committee as well. Yeah, the only one that doesn't have a contested race is Ward 2 right now. But again, if you'd like, you can always write somebody in. That's allowed, but it is what it is right now, and it's going to change from 8 to 6 and from 4, 5 to 2.
And I suppose talk about the day overall. I mean, you kind of started early. The polls were open at 7 a.m., correct? And you go throughout the city. No issues reported, I understand?
Yeah, it was a smooth operation this morning to get everybody up and running, and we had no issues. We haven't had a machine issue today. Everything seems to be running really well.
Early voting, in-person voting, no issues there as well?
No issues. We have all of our poll workers out there working hard, which we appreciate so much, and to take advantage of this beautiful day that we have here on tap is before the kids go back to school tomorrow.
Talk about that. I'm glad you brought up the poll workers because you're one person. You certainly can't do it alone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, we have over 400 people on staff on Election Day. It's a big operation. There's 31 precincts throughout our city, and they're all being manned. There's people there. There's custodians there setting it up. They're cleaning up there. They're closing it down. So it takes so many people in Quincy to run an election, and we certainly do appreciate all of their hard work.
So with that said, let's talk about official, unofficial numbers, when you expect those numbers to come in to City Hall?
Mm-hmm. So we should be getting our numbers by about 9 o'clock, 9:30, and those will be the unofficial numbers because we'll have to go back for people that voted provisional. For those who were on the inactive list that didn't have a license, we'll sort through them, or if they said that they were registered and we couldn't prove it at the polls, they can take a provisional ballot and we'll sort through those, and we'll get those official numbers right after that.
And Quincy Access Television will get that list from you as well, correct?
Yes, we'll provide a list tonight and we'll provide it after we count the provisional ballots as well.
Very good. Thank you, Nicole, and we'll see you again in November.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, well, that was my interview with Nicole Crispo, the Quincy City Clerk. You can hear me now. My mic is on. My colleague Joe Catalano joining me for election night coverage.
Joe, we have some numbers to report.
Yep, they're
for folks.
scrolling across the bottom of the screen for folks to see. Those are unofficial results, of course, just to bear in mind until they're certified by the city. And of course, until we tabulate all of the votes, there's so many different ways now that people can vote: early voting, mail-in voting, absentee voting, and of course, in-person voting today. We did invite all the candidates that are on the ballot today to take part in our coverage this evening. Many of them participated, and we appreciate that. One of them was a candidate for Councillor at Large, Jackie Carvey, who I had a chance to speak to earlier today. So, preliminary election day here in Quincy, and a candidate for Councillor at Large, Jackie Carvey, has stopped on by to tell us how the campaign has been going so far. Jackie, great to see you. Thanks for coming by.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, how are you feeling on this election day?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
The campaign has been great. I have had a lot of great experiences meeting residents, and I've had a lot of positive interactions with folks. So I think overall it's been a really wonderful learning opportunity. And I hope that there is just increased voter engagement. I think, regardless of what happens today, there are 8 qualified candidates, and my hope is that more people turn out to support this election. I think that is the biggest takeaway, because at the end of the day, I'm one candidate, and the job of the city council is bigger than me, and I can see that bigger vision for sure.
So if you are, one of the 6 candidates
Yes.
that make it to the November 4th final election, will you do anything differently leading up to the general election than you did for the preliminary?
That's a great question. Definitely reaching out to more folks to try to engage with more volunteer opportunities. That's going to be really crucial for this campaign's success. I'm wedding planning. My wedding is a week after the general, so I have to be really judicious with time management.
Sure.
And I have to accept the fact that as an at-large candidate serving 100,000 people, I'm not going to be able to personally reach 100,000 people, and that's just something I'll have to come to terms with and figure out a way to manage. But I think continuing to meet people where they are, meeting people in person, I think that's the biggest way to make an impact in this community. So that's the approach I'm going to continue to take.
Okay. Did you kind of learn anything new about the city through this process that you didn't know prior?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, everything from the election office is where everything starts, and the women who work there are fabulous. But even learning about different organizations like Quinn Cycles, which is a nonprofit I didn't know about. I didn't know this organization was actually categorized as a nonprofit. There's a Quincy Women's Walking group that I found out about through doing some research, and I did a walk with them, and it was a wonderful way to meet more people, which I think, again, feeling connected to this community is really the point, which is why I think there are so many of us who are running because we care. And that has been the best part, talking to people, meeting new folks, and really understanding different facets of how community building supports the city, whether it's like a student group, whether it's a walking group, whether it's a more organized society. Like there are so many ways to get involved and to support this community. You don't have to support like one area or one idea, and that I think is something that's been really powerful, because I think it's easy to feel disconnected in a large city of over 100,000 people. So that's been one of the most positive takeaways that I've had. Okay, and what would you say has been some of the more challenging aspects of this race so far? I think the time management, honestly. I'm less concerned with the other candidates because my job is to focus on me as a candidate. Sure. But the time management piece has been, I think, the trickiest part, because there are some of us who don't have the luxury of not working full time. So juggling a full-time job, planning a bigger event, and also managing this campaign has been an interesting juggling act. And but I also think that having those responsibilities shouldn't deter someone from running. Sure. And the fundraising piece is really, hard, especially for those of us who aren't incumbents and don't have a foundation to start on. So that's been a learning curve as well. Yeah. So what will you be doing on election night tonight? Great question. I'm probably going to go to the gym just to burn off some stress. And I'm probably going to bake something. That's often how I manage stress. So we're going to be doing something small, and then tomorrow we'll see what the outcome is, and we'll move forward from there.
Sure, sure. Do you want to leave your supporters with a final message?
Sure. Is it this camera?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
No matter what the outcome is, I really appreciate all of the support and the new people that I've gotten to meet throughout this experience. And more than anything, I encourage you to get out to vote today. The polls are open until 8, and if you are in line when the polls close, you can still vote. So don't forget.
Great to see you, Jackie. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. Our pleasure.
That was a great interview, Joe. It's great to see folks really decide to become engaged in politics.
A lot of first-time candidates in this election for sure, and a lot of them, the ones that I've spoken to at least, very enthusiastic about the process and about the city. So
And grateful.
And grateful too for all their supporters, absolutely. We have final numbers to share with, unofficial final numbers to share with you in the Ward 6 race, and as you can see, we have Christopher Chan with 231 votes, incumbent Bill Harris at 573, Deb Riley at 555, and James Coffey at 219. So unofficially now, as it appears, it'll be William Harris and Deborah Riley facing off against each other on the November 4th ballot for the general election. And again, these are unofficial results, but this is being reported as of this evening in Ward 6, and as it stands right now. Speaking of James Coffey in Ward 6, had a chance to catch up with him earlier today as well, talk about his campaign. Let's bring you that right now. And thank you for joining us for our election night coverage here on QATV. We are joined now by Ward 6 Council candidates, Jim Coffey, telling us how things went out on the campaign trail and what he's hoping for this evening. Great to see you again, Jim. Thanks for coming over.
It's always a pleasure sitting down with you, Joe. I enjoy it.
Likewise, likewise.
Thank you.
How are you feeling on this preliminary election day?
I'm feeling really good.
Yeah.
You know, the vibes, the response that I'm getting from the residents of Ward 6 have been overwhelmingly for me, but also for the issues that they're facing. And it could be anything from, you know, taxes the seniors are having to try to deal with a fixed income. It could be the spending in the city that they believe is, you know, just it's somewhat out of control. You know, so listening to the residents has been really comforting to me that I'm doing the right thing, and that they're seeing what I'm working for to be the change that we need in Ward 6.
Yeah. Was it a surprise to you to hear those concerns, specifically about taxes and spending? Did you not realize that was an issue beforehand? You
know, I did, but the thing is, I didn't realize it was hitting home, especially to the seniors, as bad as it is. You know, I guess you could call me a senior, but I didn't realize that there's a lot of seniors in this city and in Ward 6 that are literally on a fixed income, and I'm not talking a fixed income of, you know, $100,000. I mean, far, far less than that. And every year their taxes are going up, and they're faced with, well, I can't afford to pay the increase in the taxes, so I might have to move out of the city. And when I heard that, that really struck a chord with me, that here is a senior that's maybe, this particular woman, she was in her 80s, she can't live in the city anymore because the taxes are driving her out. She contributed to our system, our tax system, for 60 some odd years. And now she's saying she can't stay here. We need to change that. And that's what I'm going to do when I'm at Ward 6 City Councilor.
Yeah. Other issues that come up during the campaign that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, of course. They're talking about the, you know, the salaries that were approved by the council for both the mayor and themselves. I have come out, and I'll say it again, I was not in favor of that. I was at that vote. I was told to kind of keep quiet because they were not allowing any feedback from the residents that were there. But I was against that vote. I think the way that they went about that vote was what struck a nerve with me, because you should really think about speaking to the people of the city if you're going to be asking for a sizable raise. I'm not opposed to both the mayor and the councilors getting a raise. Absolutely not. I just think the way they went about it is what I think irks a lot of people in the city, especially in my ward. Because when that comes up, that's one of the things they say, not so much the amount of the raise, but the way it went about it.
So regardless of what happens tonight, Jim, how will you be kind of more active in these issues that you're concerned about?
So tonight's vote tonight, and I'm actually positively looking forward to being one of the two moving forward to November 4th in the two-legged race. It's only going to spur me on even more the energy that I have and fine-tune these particular issues, like developing that tax plan for the seniors, looking at how we can reduce spending and how we can try to save on our taxes to everyone, not just the seniors. So that will really give me the energy and the drive to go even faster and harder at all of these issues. And by the way, senior housing is another issue, and also veterans housing. I think those two right there really need to be looked at seriously. I applaud the mayor and the council. They recently had a proposal for another 94 units for senior housing on Clay Street. All for that. And that is also a mixed senior class. All for that. That's a parking lot there that's being used by CVS. A perfect place for it. Let's do it. So those are the types of things that I want to continue to create movement on. And as a city councilor, I will be meeting with all of the residents. I'm trying to do it on a quarterly basis. And I want to hear from them what they think about what's going on in the city and what is troubling them, what's bothering them.
Okay. So if you are one of the two finalists this evening, what's the strategy going forward to November 4th?
Continue doing what I've been doing. It's got me to where I am today, and that is knock on doors, speak to people, listening to people, listen to their issues and concerns, and then try to see what I can do when I'm elected on November 4th to take those issues and concerns and try to correct them or try to improve on them. I firmly believe that if the councilor is not listening to what the people are saying, then how can you represent the people? So I will be listening to the people and then representing the people on the council chambers.
Thanks for stopping by this evening. Appreciate your taking part in our coverage here.
Joe, you're very welcome, and I appreciate the opportunity to come down today and speak with you and speak to the people of Ward 6.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for watching us here at QA-TV. I'm Joe Catalano. Please stay tuned to our live election night coverage here on Quincy Access Television.
Another great interview, Joe.
It's great to talk to Jim.
We should, of course, thank all of the candidates that took the time to come in to QA-TV to be interviewed for this program. And Joe, I know you interviewed quite a few of the candidates during AM Quincy's.
Yes, indeed. Again, all of them were invited and many of them accepted, so we do appreciate that as well. We have some numbers to share with folks this evening. These are, again, unofficial results for the Councillor at Large race and for the Ward 6 race. And for Councillor at Large, we bring them up for you now and show you that Andrew Pham has 1,271 votes, Scott Campbell at 2,024, Noel DiBona 2,412, Jackie Carvey at 518, Susan Yuan at 1,457, Hannah Kaplan at 440, Ann Mahoney 2,522, and Herbert Alley Shaughnessy at 1,449. So as it stands right now, at least, it looks like Jackie Carvey and Kaplan will be eliminated this evening, leaving 6 to face off against each other for the 3 at-large council seats on November the 4th. And again, these are unofficial results. And in Ward 6, Christopher Chan, 231 votes. Incumbent William Harris, 573. Deb Riley at 555. James Coffey at 219. And again, as it appears right now, it will be William Harris and Deborah Riley facing each other on November 4th for the Ward 6 City Council seats.
That is a close race in
Indeed,
Ward 6.
18 votes there, separating the incumbent and Deborah Riley. And if that holds, if that stands, those two will be on the final ballot for the Ward 6 seats coming up in November. When, of course, everybody else is on the ballot as well. All the ward councilors will be on the ballot as well.
Correct. And Ward 2 does not have a contested race.
That's right. That's the only one, actually. Every other candidate has a challenger, except for the Ward 2 councilor this year as well. There'll also be 6 candidates for 3 school committee seats coming up November 4th as well. Incumbent Tina Cahill will be on the ballot, along with Kate Campbell, Kai Lee, Tom Leung, Marsha Roos, former school board member Frank Santoro as well, and Doug Guttrow and Emily Lebo. They're not running again for school committee this year. So it'll be busier for sure on November 4th than it is this evening. I think when you talked to the city clerk, she was hoping somewhere between an 18-20% turnout this evening. I talked to the mayor this morning. He thought it would be more like 10%. I think it might fall somewhere in the middle. We'll see what happens.
We should mention that we do have quite a few folks, volunteers. Quincy Access Television depends on volunteers. They have been at the polls gathering numbers for us. There also have been volunteers right here in the studio,
for sure,
answering phones, getting those numbers, working the cameras. And QATV depends a lot on its volunteers. Certainly the volunteers make Quincy Access Television what it is.
No question. Could not be happening without those folks. So we appreciate it. Thank you very much for that as well. And thank you to all the candidates who also agreed to share their time with us and with you at home to get their message out to you. And one of them is in studio with us right now.
Ann, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's very exciting to be here today.
Great to be you right now.
I didn't see the official results, so I don't know what we're at, but I know the most important thing is I will be on the ballot for November 4th, and I very much want to appreciate everybody who came out to vote, because you know, it's as you were talking just before I came on, you know, the prediction was a little higher from Nikki and a little lower from the mayor, and it's a low turnout, so it's a long day for the candidates that are out there, and I just want to applaud everybody, because there was a lot of people that are not on the ballot today that they were out there and they were working really hard too. So for the at-larges, I want to thank everybody for coming out, and of course Ward 6 too. It's an exciting day for the city of Quincy, for me too.
Yes, you're coming back. I'm trying to come back.
I'm trying to, yeah. So,
why?
Because you know, I really don't. I think conversations need to be had, and you know, we make our community better and stronger by having those conversations. And quite honestly, the last 2 years there were no conversations happening. They were canceling meetings at the city council. I guess they didn't have much to talk about. And I'm not saying that in a critical way. I'm saying that we always have things you need to talk about. And quite honestly, 2 years ago when I ran for mayor, I was bringing up some of the very concerns I have that have happened over the last 2 years. People, you know, things are being spent on things that nobody knows what it's about. Even the city councilors were surprised by things. They should be outraged by those things. A raise that was voted on by the city council and brought in by the mayor, not really questioned. It's really those types of things. And these are the people of Quincy, these are the taxpayers of the city of Quincy, that you're earning their votes, you're earning their right to sit in these elected positions, and they expect more, and they expect it to be transparent. Those are the things that made me run for mayor, and those are the things that made me come back and run for this council seat, because I do think those checks and balances have to happen so that our community can be strong.
So time and time again, what were the issues as you were out campaigning that I suppose were felt throughout the city, from Squantum to South Quincy?
For all over the city, the two things that came up that were very strong and people were talking to me were the statues, and it was the amount of money that was spent and the lack of transparency about it. And then also the raise. The $285,000 is just not sitting well with most people in the city of Quincy, mostly because of the amount and then also the way it was handled. It wasn't brought up when the mayor's race was happening 2 years ago. It was brought up after, and the report that came out wasn't questioned. Nobody really talked about that too. There's other things that come up, obviously, like the $3.5 million. It was embezzled from the retirement fund. That money hasn't been recovered. And then also, unfortunately, the incident that we had with the COA director being walked out. And the question is, why isn't there more being reported on that? And the final thing was also the Granite Links lease. There was a lot of things asked during the last 2 years that I was an elected official as a councillor for audits, and then no audits were ever produced, yet it got moved on to the state. These are the things that were upsetting people, and I think they really didn't think they would not go unchecked, and now they've gone unchecked, and I think you're seeing people come out and basically say, you know, we need some balance back in our government.
If you're successful in and get back on the council this year, will you do anything differently as a councillor at large that you did prior?
I don't know if I could say I do things differently, but I definitely do. I like analyzing things. I like asking questions, and I'll be asking more of those questions. And you know, differently, I don't think I'm going to change the way I go about working, because that's just the way I do. I like to look into things, and when I have questions, I raise the questions. And it's really less about me being, I always go, I don't want to be right when I'm asking those questions. I just want to know so I can be informed when I'm making those decisions for the taxpayers. And I would say for everybody that's running for office right now, that's the most important thing that you should really learn, is that when you get elected into office, you feel the weight of the people who voted for you but you're elected by the whole city. So whether people did vote for you or didn't vote for you, you need to work for everybody. And that's the sense that I'm getting in the city right now, is that there's nobody accountable to the people who don't agree. And unfortunately, that mayor's race, it was $1 million spent to win a mayor's race. And I'm not running for mayor. But in that time period, there was a lot of people that didn't vote for him, and I offered that assistance to say, let's close that gap, let's make our city unified, let's do this together. And the answers that I got back, quite honestly, was they'll never vote for me anyway. And I'm less about, I want you to vote for me, sure, but if you don't, I'm still going to work for you. And that's what we need to get back to remembering, is when we get elected, we're elected for the whole, not for the part, not for the number you gave me for tonight, although it feels good tonight. The day I start that job, it's for the whole city, and it's for everybody.
So what would you say to some of the people that are new to politics? We see that in this election. Some encouragement maybe for them if they haven't done maybe as well as they had hoped?
Well, what I will say is you should be very proud of yourself for putting your name out there at all. It's a very hard thing to do, and it comes with a lot of criticism, and it comes with a lot of pushback sometimes that you weren't expecting because you think you're doing a good thing. So congratulations for at least attempting. That's the most important thing. And for those that are going through, for whether it's the Councillor at Large race or the Ward 6 race, I want to remind people that this was a preliminary. We had a low voter turnout. There'll be more people that will come out on November 4th. It's really important to get our vote out. And then to remember, as I said before, we get elected in, but we work for everybody. You might not agree with everybody, but we get elected for everybody. So remember to balance that you're making the decisions for everybody. It can't just be for the special interests, and it can't be just for one thing. It's about really making the right decision for everybody. And I think that's the really great opportunity that the residents, the voters of the city of Quincy have in this election. There's a race in every ward with the exception of Ward 2 for the council, and there's a race for school committee. It's a very healthy thing to have. Turnout would be great if we could get it up, but at the same time, you have choices. And if you are discouraged, like I said, people were when I was at the doors, you have an option. And I hope you do take that option, because if you don't, you get the same old thing. And the thing is, it's good to change things up every now and then.
I can't help but wonder, Ann, is there another mayoral run in your future?
I'm exhausted, Joe. People will say that, and I will say at this very moment, no.
Okay.
What I am very excited about is how the day went today. It was a beautiful day. I saw lots of people, and I got a lot of encouragement, and it was just nice to see people. And it's also nice to be among other people that are running, that are new, and you're seeing some new names popping up into that. That's exciting to me. It's like to say I've been around for a while. It's scary how long, but at the same time, I always tell people, when I stop doing the thing I say I'm going to do for you, then it's time to stop voting for me. And, I stay true to my cause. I come out and I try to make sure I'm doing what's right for everybody. And I hope people, will continue to support me. I thank everybody who did. It was a great day throughout the city. It was slow at some points, but I really do appreciate it. And it was, as always, I love seeing people, and there's some fun in elections too. So I hope people get a bug and want to come out and do it more in Quincy.
Well, lastly, what happened behind the scenes as far as your campaign? You had folks helping you out as well.
Behind my campaign?
Or did you?
I didn't actually.
You didn't.
So this time, what I will say is I knew a lot of people that were running, and I wanted to encourage people to help everybody, but to actually ask people to help me for my mayoral campaign and say, come on out and help me, I felt like that wasn't the right thing. So what I'd say is there was multiple elections. Please get involved with your elections. They did help me. I mean, I'm not saying that people didn't vote for me. They obviously did. But as far as who did all of the work this time, it was myself. I did all the door knocking. My husband helped me. I just went out and door knocked, and I went to places and I made sure I talked. But I didn't just talk about myself. I was also talking about the choices people have. And that's a really exciting thing for people that are on the ballot, and also people that have choices when they go out to vote. And I did not have a kickoff yet. I haven't had a fundraiser. I didn't spend $1 million. I've spent $315 on literature, and other than that, I couldn't put a sign. I couldn't put an ad in the Quincy Sun. But other than that, that's where we're at. But we'll have a fundraiser. I will have to do a fundraiser. I did not do any mailings. Nobody got any mail in their house from me. So it was just really name recognition and seeing people. And when I was at people's doors and they were saying that they knew me, I'd say, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And they'd always say it was a good thing, but I was always laugh because people were like, oh, yeah, we know who you are. And I thought, it's Ann Mahoney. So it's and that's nice. That's always a very rewarding feeling, because you could be tired of seeing the same people, but they were very clear that they were excited that I was running, and they were excited that people were running and that they had choices. So I'm excited for the results of today and then also the future of what it has to hold.
Speaking of, we're going to check those results
Excellent.
right now. Thanks so much, Ann. Great to see you.
It was great to see you too.
Good to see you.
Thank you very much to QATV, because this is, as I've always said, QAT is it's the heartbeat of the city of Quincy. It's important for people to know that and the Quincy Sun and the Patriot Ledger, but really QATV does an enormous amount that people don't understand what you do. So I thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you. That's
We'll
nice
see
to
you
hear.
soon. Have a nice night.
You too. Thank you very much. So, we do have numbers to show folks, unofficial numbers to show folks. We'll begin with the race for councillor at large. And there you see unofficial results. Andrew Pham at 1,328. Scott Campbell, 2,225. Noel DiBona, 2,611. Jackie Carvey, 547. Susan Yuan at 1,543. Hannah Kaplan, 473. Ann Mahoney topping the ticket right now, 2,709. And Herbert Ali Shaughnessy at 1,561. Again, unofficial results for you for the at-large council race. Over to Ward 6 we flip. Christopher Chan at 231. The incumbent, Bill Harris, 573. Deb Riley, 555. And James Coffey at 219. So as it stands right now, at least, William Harris, Deborah Riley facing each other on November 4th for the Ward 6 City Council seat in the general election.
When we talked about voter turnout, I know we have an interview to go to momentarily. One of the interesting things that the city clerk had mentioned was, well, maybe voter turnout could have been lighter because it was the day after a holiday and maybe the day before school started, and because of that, parents were getting children ready. Maybe they were just finishing their summer vacation. But we also had mail-in voting and early voting, early in-person voting. So I guess maybe in a sense there goes that theory.
Yes, and you know, we do have some interesting kind of statistic to share with folks. Early in-person voters, there were 497 of them. The mail-in ballots returned, there were 426. So between those two, about 1,000 votes, you know, early and mail-in. So not a lot of interest that time. As Ann said, it will be busier for the November election when all the ward council seats are also on the ballot, and 3 school committee seats as well. Speaking of interviews, yes, we do. We have another interview for you. Deborah Riley stopped by earlier today, running for the Ward 6 City Council seat, and it looks like she will be on the ballot on November 4th. Let's show you what she had to say. Thanks for watching our live coverage of the preliminary election here in Quincy Access Television. We've invited the candidates on the ballot today to stop on by and have a little final message for you. And Ward 6 City Council candidate Deb Riley has done just that. Great to see you again, Deb.
Good to see you too, Joe.
How are you feeling today on this election day?
I feel good.
Yep.
I feel good. I've talked to a lot of people. I met a lot of people this morning at the polls. I was the first one there at my precinct voting location, and it's been great. A lot of good energy.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about how the campaign has gone for you so far. What have been some of the highlights for you?
Just meeting all the people in the neighborhood. I had one fundraiser that was well attended, and yeah, it's just been nice just chatting with people. Talking is something I do well.
What has kind of stuck out in your mind as things that people are, you know, really passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a number of hot button issues in the city that seem to really have people paying attention, including the salary raise. I would say that's probably the biggest one I hear about. The statues and the property taxes. Those are probably the 3 biggest things that I hear people talking about.
Sure. So was that a surprise to you, Deb, or did you kind of figure that would be the case?
No, I mean, obviously I've been keeping up with some of those issues, but to hear it repeatedly being, you know, something that causes people concern is affirming, I guess, of what I'd been hearing before.
Yeah. Did you learn anything kind of new about Ward 6 that you didn't realize? I mean, I know you've been a resident for a very long time, so.
Well, I had a few people, not just in Ward 6, but also at the August Moon Festival, talking about the curbside composting program. So, you know, that's something that people really, environmentally, people are really looking to see expanded. So that's something that I hope we can see happen. Other than that, I don't think there was anything newer that I can recall.
Okay.
On the spot.
Regardless of what happens tonight, what is the plan for you going forward in Ward 6 in terms of being active in the city?
Good question. I really haven't given it much thought because I don't have a need to really. I mean, I sell real estate, and I'm, my husband and I can sort of call ourselves semi-retired. So I have plenty of things to fill my time if this ends up not being something that is needed. But
Sure.
I also have plenty of time to give to it.
Okay. If you are one of the finalists this evening, what's the plan going forward?
The plan going forward, I think, is to just get hyper-focused on, those voters that turn out for elections. I definitely will expand my reach beyond the Squantum area. Obviously, those are the people that know me and that I know. So I've really been focusing, and it's just an easier walk for me. But I have my bicycle, so I can bike around to the other precincts. And I know that Quincy Votes is trying to get out more voter turnout in some of those lower wards and precincts. So, I will do my part to knock on those doors and hopefully get some of those people going.
Sure, yeah. Have you been encouraged by, I guess, the response from folks who have volunteered their time, for you, and also stepped up and really decided to get active in politics?
I'm very humbled by, the people that have supported me, both in terms of their time and treasure. Most all of my campaign contributions are really friends, family, local neighbors. I really don't have any in with any of the big players that might be more prominent. So it's all just regular, everyday folks, and I'm blessed and humbled by the support that they've given me.
Yeah. Do you think if you're not successful, would you run again in the future?
So the last time when somebody asked me that after the last election, I said, that's like asking a woman right after she has a baby if she's going to have another baby. So
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not thinking that far ahead.
Gotcha. Okay. Final message for your supporters this evening?
I'm looking forward to the results tonight. I'm looking forward to the November election, and I just will do my very best to serve the people of Quincy.
Sure. Well, appreciate you stopping by here and updating us, and we'll see you on the campaign trail.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. And thanks for watching us here at Quincy Access Television. I'm Joe Catalano. Please stay tuned to our live election night coverage here on QATV.
Well, thank you, Joe. Deb Riley likely facing William Harris in the final election.
Yes, according to the unofficial numbers, William Harris at 573 votes, Deborah Riley at 555 votes. So narrowing down to 2 for the final election, and there you see the unofficial results on your screen right now. So that's the way it probably will shape up when we get the official results from the city clerk's office. Let's continue with our interviews, and at-large council candidate Andrew Pham stopped by this morning, had a chat with me here at Studio A. Let's see what he had to say. Night coverage here on Quincy Access Television. We've invited all of the candidates on the ballot today to stop by this evening and share with us how their experience has been so far. Andrew Pham, one of the candidates for Councillor at Large, has stopped by to tell us how it's going. How are you feeling today, Andrew?
I think all the work's been put in, the best I could do. I think I can always keep replaying back what I could have done, or I should have posted this sooner, or I think it's a collective team effort that I was able to corral everyone before today, and I'm just really appreciative of everyone who kind of came out and held a sign and kind of believed in me and believed inside the mission that I'm trying to help Quincy. And while I'm a new politician, I'm trying to fix my way how I talk to the general public. But it's all good intent for the city, and if one of my crazy ideas helps inspire something new, then I'm a happy camper today.
Yeah. Any moments throughout the campaign that kind of stand out to you as being especially impactful or challenging? What were some of the surprises that you learned along the way?
I think the biggest reality check that hit me was when I was at the August Moon Festival, and how you can be so passionate and you want progress to happen. Not everyone's going to care, and it's okay. I think I was just expecting, especially after COVID-19 and then Black Lives Matter, there was a whole political movement, and now that when things are back to normal, I think some people aren't as interested in politics, and maybe they're sick of the current politics and they don't want to think about it, and hopefully with each election we kind of progress the city forward in some way, shape, or form, or some type of messaging or ideas.
Do you look at the city a little differently going through this process? Have you learned kind of different things about Quincy that you might not have realized in the past?
1,000%.
Really?
And I never gone to Howe's Neck before, and I forget that whole entire area exists, and it's so beautiful out there, and the people of Howe's Neck are so blessed to be there. And each little neighborhood of Quincy kind of has that unique identity to it. And while I'm studying this political process, I'm trying to divide each neighborhood up into wards, but it's actually kind of really hard to do because each ward is so different and the issues are so different. So like, even though I'm like championing these, a certain problem, like a vacant lot, another ward that won't even be on the radar. So I kind of have to be in multiple places at once and trying to accommodate almost like everyone, but that's the nature of the job. That's the position I'm shooting for.
At-large councillor,
yes,
right?
Yes. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I put in the work, and hopefully it pans out.
Sure. So if you are, successful this evening, Andrew, what's kind of the strategy going forward to November 4th?
And to lean on the current base and build off of it, we have a strong foundation. Even though I hoped that more people turned out to August Moon Festival and checked out the table and learned about me as a councillor, we were able to actually get a handful of volunteers. So like 10 new volunteers signed on, and they're holding out signs earlier, and they helped carry the energy even further than I am. So.
So if you're not successful going forward, do you think you'll still stay active in politics or in Quincy in general?
If I'm unsuccessful, I think it would be cool to join another. If yeah, right. We don't know, but yeah, I think it'd be interesting to just learn and get involved in a different way.
Sure.
And if I didn't get enough votes, then that happened for a reason, and I got to take my lessons and hopefully help the next candidate that kind of has similar values as me, and we'll keep on pushing.
Yeah. Would you run again in the future, do you think?
Most definitely.
Really?
I think I learned different communication strategies, or different. There's things I would have done differently, maybe even earlier. And if I just had bit the bullet sooner instead of waiting. I think those parts of it where you procrastinate, you get anxious and you procrastinate, and for I had just gotten started sooner, I bet I could have gotten a bigger troop of supporters to get me in a strong
Sure.
shape.
Do you have a message for folks who have supported you and are contemplating maybe supporting you in the future?
Yes. Aside from just thank you, and at this point in time, I brought out my whole self. All over the internet, I placed out my career, how Quincy has shaped me, every positive interaction up until this point. It definitely shaped me into a better person as I reflect throughout my different leadership experiences out in Quincy. Like even when I was a student to when I was a college kid, and I would come back and try to still get involved. And the type of service that I contribute back to the community kind of changed. And each stage of my life, I always meet someone new that kind of makes me see the whole world differently. And throughout this entire process, I'm thankful that so many kind souls have gone forward, and they see the energy I'm putting out, and they're so supportive. And yeah, no, just that. Thank you. If you have faith in me. Thank you, and hope to come out stronger and better if it's unsuccessful. We don't know.
That's right. That's right. We don't know yet,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we want to thank you for stopping by here at QATV and sharing your story with us. We really appreciate that.
Thanks, Joe.
You're very welcome. And thanks for watching our election night coverage here in Quincy Access Television. We'll be right back with more.
Vote 2025, yet another candidate who took the opportunity to come in and thank the voters, and certainly utilized, as many of the candidates did and do, Quincy Access Television's, I suppose, coverage of election 2025.
We do have now 31 of 31 precincts reporting in with numbers to show you final unofficial results for the Councillor at Large race. And here they are with Andrew Pham, 1,350. Incumbent Scott Campbell, 2,256. Incumbent Noel DiBona, 2,642. Jackie Carvey, 556. Susan Yuan, 1,574. Hannah Kaplan, 485. Ann Mahoney, 2,756, and Herbert Ali Shaughnessy, 1,575. So unofficially now, it looks like Jackie Carvey, Hannah Kaplan will be eliminated, leaving the 6 finalists to face off for the 3 at-large council seats on November 4th. Incumbent at-large councillor Nina Liang, we should mention, is not seeking re-election this year after 10 years of service on the City Council.
We do have more interviews to go to, other candidates that have stopped by today during Election Day in the city of Quincy. They stopped by our studios earlier, and they chatted with both us and, of course, you at home.
Yes, and one of them you talked to, Mark, earlier was Susan Yuan, candidate for Councillor at Large. So let's show you what she had to say.
Susan Yuan has joined us in studio to talk about the election, well, both Election Day and everything that led up to today. So, also known as Susan, we should mention.
Yeah.
Susan, so glad to have you back into the Quincy Access Television studios.
I'm glad to have me here. Thank you.
So talk about, I guess, in a brief way, why you decided to run for Councillor at Large.
Yeah. Before, I never thought about running for public officers. And last year, during the campaign to repeal Mayor's 79% pay raise, which I helped organize, a lot of people encouraged me to run for City Council because they appreciate my willingness and the courage to stand up speaking for people. So I take their encouragement and I considered quite well, and I think my run probably can inspire more people step up to serve. So I jumped into the ring.
And since you jumped into the ring, what has been the response as you've been out and about?
And I think this experience is very rewarding because I got a chance to talk to a lot of residents and listen to their concerns. And every time when I get their feedback, I feel my decision to run is right because I can have a chance to work for them, help them solve problems.
And so, I was going to say, what were some of those concerns that residents brought up to you?
So a lot of people concerned about the ever increasing property taxes and make them difficult to stay. And they questioned about the spending, the city's spending not prioritizing and spending lavishly on some unnecessary projects. So even yesterday, I got a long email from a resident who just got my flyer, and she wrote to me. She said, "Now my rent is $2,200, and I have 3 kids, and I'm currently unemployed because the business she worked closed. Her unemployment only $400 a week." She said, "You can count how I can get through, and the food pantry is overloaded with people. And the people are scared and worried if they still can keep the roof above their head and can put the food on the table." And she said, "Has the city done anything to help everyday people?" She said, "I didn't see any." And they spend money like on those lavishly statues and those expensive buildings. Why they don't think about use that money, help residents who really need help? And I read that email, I really found my mission. I want to put myself there working for everyday people and really solve their problems and help them.
I want to ask how you decided on the city of Quincy to live in yourself.
to live.
To live in the city of Quincy. How did you choose Quincy?
How do I? Yeah, I first moved here, like I rented with my roommates. So we 3 roommates rented a house together. And then I like Quincy. We live very close to T station, so easy for commute. Also, I like the beach, the blue hills. So then later I met my husband here, and we rented them first. Then later we purchased a condo at House Neck. So.
And what's nice too is that it's culturally diverse.
Yeah, I enjoy like a big Asian community. Like we go to eat at Asian restaurants many times, and I have friends in Asian community, and we really enjoy. My husband, he enjoying Asian culture. He learned Chinese language, and he cook Chinese food at home.
Very good. I want to thank you so much for stopping by. In just 1 minute, maybe less than that, just tell me how you got about the city. You had to cover a lot of ground because a councillor at large runs for the post at large,
yeah,
the whole city.
I try to like lock indoors as many as I can, and I also have my volunteers help me hand out flyers and cover a lot of area. And on social media, I use WeChat to communicate with the Asian community. But other than that, I don't have many other social media presence.
Well, it certainly helps. We talked about this. It certainly helps having volunteers to assist.
Yes, without volunteers, I can't do this. I get many people help me and encourage me, say, we need you to go to get into city council and work for people. So every time when I get tired, and then I heard about those encouragement, I become energetic immediately. Okay.
Well, good luck. And
yeah, I want
as
to
we see the results coming in this evening, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We are back in the studio after yet another interview. First-time candidate, and certainly when she spoke to me and during that interview, you all heard that very enthusiastic about running for office.
Yeah, as I found all the first-time candidates to be that I talked to as well, including another first-time candidate, Mark, that you had a chance to chat with earlier.
Hannah Kaplan. She is up next, and she did chat with me just a couple of hours ago about her campaign, her reason to run, and more. Hannah Kaplan has joined us for a talk about the election. She is a candidate for Quincy City Councillor at large. Hannah, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Good.
Tell me about the election. Tell me about the election season. We are on election day. Tell me about what you've seen as you've kind of canvassed the city.
Yeah.
What folks have told you.
Yeah, it's been a really great time. I've really enjoyed canvassing, and everyone I've met and every discussion that I've had. It's just been a really great experience.
What would you say would be the issues that kind of brought you to run for councillor at large?
I think that communication can always be improved, and I think that I can definitely be a great contributor in that aspect, and so I would say that would be my main focus, communication and more transparency.
One of the items in your campaign, I suppose, toolbox is to hold roundtables. In other words, getting input from every resident on how their city could do better.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and I think that everyone has a different perspective on different topics, and everyone matters, and I think it's about understanding every perspective and putting that together into something that really works for everyone.
And let's talk a little bit about your history in the city.
Sure. I have been in the city for past 10 years, and I went to, should we?
Yeah,
You went to which school?
Yeah, so I went to Quincy Community College with associates in paralegal studies, yeah.
One of the other items, I guess, that you are concerned about, and I assume that you get these kind of, your campaign focus is based on what you've heard, but accessibility, roads, sidewalks?
Yeah. I think that there can always be road improvements, and so that's definitely something that should be looked at.
And the city is growing. I mean, there is a lot going on here in the city. It's a diverse city too. I'm sure that you've noticed that as you've been about.
It is, and it's absolutely beautiful. In the time that I've spent in Quincy, I've watched Quincy grow into something really, really lovely. And
because 10 years, you said you've been here 10 years,
yeah,
and certainly 10 years there has been a change.
Over 10 years actually. And I've just seen it, become more lovely as in the time that I've been here, and I think that's a great thing.
And more people moving into the city as well. I mean, we're well over 100,000 now.
Yes, yeah.
I guess the last thing I'd like to ask you, folks will see you because you're running for that post of councillor at large, but they don't see necessarily the people helping you. So talk about the volunteers that any candidate relies on to win an election.
Sure. I just, everyone who's helped me, it's a team effort, and I think it's really important to recognize it's not just, a solo effort. It's there's many people that have helped me in this campaign, and I really would like to say thank you.
I know you prepared something.
I did.
Do you want to read that as well?
I would love to.
Absolutely.
So I just want to say good evening, everyone. I want to take a moment to thank all of you from my heart. Running for office is never a solo effort. It's truly a community endeavor. This campaign has been about listening, learning, and standing up for the values that matter to the people of Quincy, and I could not have done it without your encouragement, your conversations, and your belief in what we can achieve together. To the residents, thank you for opening your doors, your time, and your thoughts. Every conversation I had from sidewalks, in restaurants, and from neighborhood gatherings and phone calls reminded me of why I wanted to step into this race in the first place. Listening to stories about what makes Quincy home, concerns about the challenges the city faces, and hopes for the future of our city. Your voices have guided this campaign, and they will continue to guide me moving forward. I also want to give a thank you to Leo Keka and Alba Restaurant for your support and hospitality. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the volunteers, friends, and every single resident who gave this campaign your time and energy. Thank you for believing in me, and thank you for believing in what Quincy can be. Thank you, Quincy.
That's great. I wouldn't have ended it any differently. So this interview, good luck. Hopefully we will see you in the November election.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for joining me here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was my interview with Hannah Kaplan, first-time candidate for office. Again, first-time candidate. There have been quite a few, actually, first-time candidates this time round, and it's good to see.
Absolutely, yeah. We do have now from the city clerk's office, unofficial, 100% precincts reporting in voting results for you. We'll begin in the race for Ward 6 and show you, again, this is, again, 100% unofficial results reporting in this evening. Christopher Chan, 259 votes. Incumbent Bill Harris, 646. Challenger Deb Riley, 609. Challenger James Coffey, 235. So again, it looks like it'll be William Harris and Deborah Riley on the ballot on November 4th, seeking the Ward 6 City Council seat. And again, 100% of the votes are being reported in right now. This is from City Hall. For the council at large race, Andrew Pham at 1,617. Incumbent Scott Campbell, 2,576. Incumbent Noel DiBona, 3,018. Jackie Carvey, 707. Susan Yuan at 1,853. Hannah Kaplan, 594. Ann Mahoney, 3,242. And Herbert Ali Shaughnessy, 1,804. So it looks like the final 6 there in yellow will be facing each other for the 3 councillor at large seats coming up on November the 4th. Jackie Carvey and Hannah Kaplan being eliminated during the preliminary today. 100% reporting, and we thank the City Clerk's office for providing those statistics for us.
And one of those candidates, Scott Campbell, is seeking re-election. He actually sat down with me and we had a chat. Scott Campbell has joined me in studio to talk about his candidacy for re-election to the Quincy City Council, Councillor at Large. Scott, welcome back.
Thanks for having us. This is great.
Yeah, good to see you. And tell me, I guess, maybe what's different this time around as you run for re-election?
Sure. This time around is a lot different. The first time that we ran, there was one opening, and there were 3 candidates for 3 spots. So, and in certain ways, it kind of hurt because we weren't able to go out there and really campaign the way that we wanted to, and kind of bring the attention to it because it was a mayoral race at the same time. So what we did was we created an organization and tried to set it up so when the time comes, like right now where there's 8 candidates, here's an opportunity to create and use the network that we started here. So it's been an exciting opportunity to put that in motion, and as far as differences go, it's hurry up and wait for the first election. Now this one is, holy cow, we're already at primary day, so that's the difference, biggest.
And how have the issues changed? Have they?
I'm sure you're always going to have the traffic and the housing and taxes and all those things that go with it. I think it's kind of widgety, widget type world where whatever fits for the moment, there's going to be something that grabs you. So, it's been a learning experience. It's been eye-opening. Learning from neighbors, learning from families and friends that, what's important to them. What's important to you or I maybe isn't what's important to others that are in the conversation. So. It's a lot of paying attention, and if people come to you, I expect that I need to give full attention and do all I can to help.
So I need to say, from let's say South Quincy to Squantum, there must be issues that are pretty similar that voters would bring up, or that residents would bring up.
A lot of it is infrastructure, the traffic, the roads, and the work that's being done. It's what I usually say is I'm your neighbor, and I drive on the same roads, and I understand, and try to understand and also communicate that there is an end in sight, and it's also one of those things that we will be in a position where our infrastructure will be solid, and we'll have brand new roads and brand new infrastructure and pipes and gas leads and sewer systems. So it's something that I know that it's a pain, and when you're in it, you don't really care about 10, 15, 20 years from now, because the pain that you're feeling right now isn't good. But down the road, we're talking about a way to make it so our streets are in great shape.
And how do you do it? How do you go from South Quincy to Squantum? It's a big city.
It's it's interesting you bring up Squantum because the first bit of lesson that I learned was that you'll never imagine how big Quincy is until you try to run in it. And that was completely true. What they failed to mention was just how hilly Squantum is. Yes. When you walk in those streets, it is incredible. And thankfully, the past 3-4 weeks, we've walked, every street, dropped every house, and watching it and going up and down it. Thankfully, it wasn't a gazillion degrees out because we were able to kind of make our way, and even that, it was still hot doing all that work.
Well, it was like an old-fashioned summer, I think, here in the city. But after a couple of heat waves,
Yes.
We did have some breaks.
Yep. Yeah, no, we were lucky. It was a good chance to get out, and there was so much going on in the city too.
With the Quincy 400 celebration.
Quincy 400 has been a spectacular success as far as I'm concerned. I think that when I first came in 2023, elected in 2023, I felt like that we had reached the point where we moved from Quincy being a turning point, and really at a tipping point. And I think we've I really believe we've leaped off the point where we're at tipping point. Now we've really changed the structure of the city, and it's transformed in so many great ways. And I think that the sky really is the limit as to what Quincy's capable of. It's an incredible city.
And lastly, just to mention the help that you received during the campaign.
It's extraordinary. The people that I've heard from, family, friends, cousins, aunts, relatives, it's been incredible. And I really owe them a giant debt of gratitude, most especially my wife and children. They have been incredibly supportive. My daughter, who is a junior at UMass Amherst, is now studying abroad in Florence, Italy, made, before she left, a absentee voter video, one of those TikTok. Really did a great job with it. And I think I got over 5,000 hits that she hit it. And it was valuable, too, because it spread the word on how important it was to have absentee voting.
And of course, we know that younger folks are all about social media, so that helps that you have one built in.
It is. Yeah, no, I know what's good and what's not good, so yeah.
Scott, thank you very much for joining me, and good luck, and hopefully we'll see you in the next round.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
God, what?
Hi there.
We're back.
we are back. Nice interview with Scott there, Mark.
Yeah,
very
thank
nice
you.
as well. Final unofficial results for you. All precincts reporting now. And before we do that, let me just share with you the voter turnout percentages. This is again according to the city clerk's office. 9.46% voter turnout citywide today. So the mayor was pretty close. He said 10%. Higher in Ward 6, 15.22% voter turnout in Ward 6. So that came a little closer to the city clerk's prediction, but a very slow day at the polls for sure today as well. We're going to go to the Ward 6 race now and show you the final unofficial results. And Christopher Chan with 259 votes. Incumbent William Harris, 646 votes. Deb Riley, 609 votes. And James Coffey, 235 votes. So it'll be the incumbent and Deb Riley facing off against each other on November 4th for the Ward 6 City Council seat. And in the 8-way race for the 3 Councillor at Large seats, 100% reporting now on official results. Andrew Pham, 1,617. Scott Campbell, incumbent, 2,576. Incumbent Noel DiBona, 3,018. Jackie Carvey, 707. Susan Yuan, 1,853. Hannah Kaplan, 594. Ann Mahoney, 3,242. And Herbert Alley Shaughnessy at 1,804. So Jackie Carvey, Hannah Kaplan eliminated from the running this evening, leaving 6 finalists to face off against each other for the 3 Council at Large seats on November 4th. Speaking of Councillor at Large, we have incumbent Noel DiBona, who has stopped by our studios here at QATV to share his Election Day experience with all of us. Noel, thanks for stopping by.
We'll let you take a seat. There we go.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You made the cut?
We made the cut, you know, and I just wanted to come in tonight. I know I'm probably one of the last persons in here tonight. Just wanted to thank all the voters who came out. I know it was roughly a little around the 9% mark, and I want to thank the 33,000 plus voters that went out and cast a vote for me. So just want to come in, thank all the voters, and we're going to just press forward to November 4th.
Just to be correct, it's 3,300, not 33,000.
Oh, that would have been even better.
Oh, wow. So as you were canvassing the city, what were the issues that folks brought up to you time and time again?
You know, I know a lot of folks have come on here tonight and talked about the issues that have been in front of us tonight. But believe it or not, I'm going to go more on a positive spin. A lot of the folks have talked to me about how clean the city is. I think the cleanliness of the downtown Hancock Adams Common, they talked a lot to me about the beautiful concerts that we've done in the city, Quincy 400, and everything that the Ruth Gordon Amphitheater, the Wednesdays that we do over at the Wollaston Beach. I think a combination of different things, the roads and sidewalks that were had a phase where we had a tough time over the winter. We had a tough time because it was so cold, and then a tough time because it was raining during the spring months. But now getting a handle on some of those things. So I got more of a positive spin on things. Yes, you have the pressing issues that a lot of the other candidates talked about. Yes, those are some of the things, but I like to look at the positive ends of what the city has become. Being in office, you know, I've been in probably just as long as some of the other ones, like Ann Mahoney. I've been in 10 years. So the transformation of the downtown and all the things that we've done with Quincy 400 moving it forward. I mean, I attended all the Dropkick Murphys and the Ruckers and the Fogartys and all the concerts up at the Ruth Gordon Amphitheater. The folks were coming up to me saying, are we going to do these events next year? Are we going to do these different concerts? Are we going to continue to do these things? So I look at the bright side of things, all the different things we do with the Hancock Adams Common, with the concerts, the activities, the winter Christmas lights that we have. I was more on a positive spin out there in the city. 9% voted tonight. What was the exact amount?
9.46%.
9.46%. You know, and in the mayoral race, we had 29.9%. So you're looking at a third of the voters came out today based on the mayoral race in 2023. I'm going to expect a lot more people to come out, even people I know personally that did not come out today.
So why do you think that is? Why didn't they come out today?
I think there's a combination of things, and this is, as a council, we kind of have to look at. It's the day after Labor Day. People are in transition. Kids go back to school tomorrow. They're out racing to get their sneakers and their clothes for tomorrow's school opening. People were just not in the tune of things today, to be very honest with you. It was pretty quiet early in the day. It was a beautiful day. People try to enjoy that. Boston has it next week, September 9th. Now, I understand you have to close the schools on September 2nd, but it's the day after Labor Day, and it's September 2nd. So usually, sometimes Labor Day is later in the month. It's September 7th, so it's on the 8th. But Boston and these other towns, they're doing it on the 9th. It's another week. I think you'd see, closer to 15% if it was a week from today, which is Boston's race would be September 9th. People will be back in transition. They'll be back to school. They won't have to worry about running out to do these things. So I think there's a combination of things that we have to look at as a city. A lot of times, and I don't want to take away from, and you're asking me this question, I don't want to take away from the fact that a lot of people like to drop their kids off at school and then go vote. I saw over the years, because I've been in office for 12 years, I've been on the school committee for 2, and then I've been in at-large for 10. So seeing the people drop their kids off and then go next door to vote was a very, very easy transition for folks to go vote. So I think over the last few years, and with COVID coming in the last 5, it's changed the whole dynamics of everything. Some folks don't feel comfortable doing a mail-in ballot. The early voting was Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this year. So it was only 5 days. So you add all these things up and you get a lower turnout. So I'm going to push and try to just continue to do better for the final election. Remember, it's the best of 3 series. It's the top 3 candidates for at-large. So we'll just continue to work hard and do a great job for the city. I like to stay on a positive spin of things as up there as a councillor. And what I did find with councillors at large is I served with Joe Finn, I've served with Nina Liang, Ann Mahoney, and Scott Campbell. So we have a variety of diverse group of candidates up there. And I think the folks of the city kind of like a diverse group. Me and Nina were on together for the last 10 years together. She's coming off now, and I've served with Ann for 6 of those years. I've served with Scott with 2, but I've also served with 2 years on the school committee with Ann. So I think people like a little diversity up there, a little bit differentness. So we'll see what happens when we get into November and how the folks will vote. So I want to thank everybody for doing that and coming out and vote today. And we'll see. Hopefully we get that. Hopefully we can get to 20%. Maybe we can get double in the final election on November 4th.
All right. Thanks, Noel.
I thank you guys. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
This has been quite an election night. Certainly, again, a number of candidates that took the time to speak with us, as did Noel DiBona just recently. Certainly want to thank all of the help, all of those helpers that we had, all of our members. Our QATV volunteers are known as members. They really are an important part of this station. They were at the polling locations. They got the numbers as they were printed, called them in here. We had folks on the phones transcribing those numbers, giving them to our director, John Caleri, and then in turn giving them to mostly Joe, because you had an earpiece. And of course, Joe delivering it to you at home. And really, it's kind of this well-oiled machine.
It's a team effort for sure, and we've been doing it quite a long time now, and could not, as you say, without those folks out in the fields bringing us that information so we can bring it to you. So we thank you, and we thank them very much for all their assistance. we'll do it again on November 4th.
We will, indeed. Until then, from me, for my colleague Joe Catalano, for our director Jonathan Caleri, and for all of QATV members, we should mention Michael Jarvie, production specialist, who also had a part in tonight's coverage, our technician, operations director Christopher Potter as well, and Carol Themin. We thank everyone who has taken part in this election coverage, and we will see you again in November. Take care.